A very happy morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the session BA History Program, Semester 2nd, Session number 40. I am Sudhaji, Assistant Professor, Department of History, GFGC, Ripanpet. Let me start today's discussion by posing a question to you. Name the three wings of Indian Defence Force. You are right. Army, Air Force and Navy. Could you now tell me why do we need Defence Force? Yes, in order to protect our country from the onslaughts of the enemies. So, I think you strongly believe that military is must for a country to protect itself, right? Let us today, in this session, explore the military administration of the Mughals called Mansabdari System. Students have learnt about the central and provincial administration of the Mughals. They also knew about the features of revenue administration of the Mughals. Learning objectives of today's session: to enable the students to learn about the military administration of the Mughals, they will identify the features of Mansabdari system. They will also analyze the merits and demerits of Mansabdari system. Learning outcomes: at the end of the session, students will appreciate military camps of Mughals. They will recall the different designations of Mansabdars based on their ranks. They will give reasons for gradual deterioration in which contributed to the downfall of the Mughals. Let us start with introduction. The Mansabdar system was originally invented by Khalifa Abba Sayyid. It was introduced in India by Akbar. Mansabdar system replaced the earlier Jagirdari system. The word Mansabdari originated from Arabic word which means rank, position and status of a person. Let us know the definition. Mansabdari was a system in which every civil and military officers were given ranks. It was a criteria to fix the salaries and allowances of officers. You can raise a question: what made Akbar to introduce this new system called Mansabdari? Let me tell you. Mughal army consisted of Mongols, Turks, Uzbeks, Persians and Afghans. The commanding officers were of the same race as the troops and granted large assignments of land in the lieu of their salaries. Due to inefficiency of Humayun and the semi-independent position of commanders, the military aristocracy was inclined to be subordinate, making the Mughal army as a weak instrument of force. The officers did not maintain in the number of troops which they were required to have. They resorted to irregularities and fraudulent practices and cheated the government and the soldiers alike. They attempted to resist every reform and tried to prevent Akbar from centralizing the authority and making the army a unitary organization. So, Akbar introduced Mansabdar system in order to reduce the insubordinate military officers and reorganize him, to stamp out corruption and to convert into a powerful disciplined force and to take the absolute power of direction and control in his hands. Now let us know about the categories of Mansabs. The lowest grade was that of 10, the highest grade was 12,000. Abul Fazl mentioned 66 grades in Mansabdar system. Actually, in practice, there were only 33 grades. Higher mansabs were given only to the princes. The designations of Mansabdars. Mansabdars below the rank of 500 were called Mansabdars. 500 to 2500 ranks were named as Amirs. Above 2500 ranks were called Amir-e-Azam, and Khan-e-Jahan was still higher in rank. Khan-e-Khana was the highest rank in the army. It was not mandatory that Mansabdars of higher rank should enjoy higher post in the state. Example, Abul Fazl was lower Mansabdar, still he was a minister in the court of Akbar. Now, let us know about Zaatan Isabars. These were the ranks within the Mansabdari system. According to Bolochman, every Mansabdar had to maintain as many as soldiers as were indicated by his rank of Zat, while the rank of Savar indicated the number of horsemen. Here I would like to tell you in detail about the Mughal army, which is very interesting. Kindly pay attention. The Mughal army comprised cavalry, infantry, artillery, and elephantry, but no navy. Cavalry was by far the most important branch and was regarded the flower of the army. The infantry was not of much consequences. It consisted of matchlockmen, archers, mevatis, swordmen, wrestlers, mace bearers, porters, and chelas called slaves. The matchlockmen or bandukechis formed the most important branch of infantry. We know from the Aini Akbari that the total number of matchlockmen under Akbar was 12,000. The mevatis numbered a few thousand only. There were 1 lakh of swordsmen, of which 1,000 were kept in readiness for service at court. They were noted for their bravery, ability, and swordsmanship. Porters and mace bearers were also classed as soldiers. Artillery was not a very efficient branch. This you have to note. Now, let's move on to know the features of Mansabdar system. The king himself appointed the Mansabdars. He could enhance their ranks or lower down it or remove it. So it was based on the will of the emperor. They could be asked to perform any civil or military service also. Higher mansab was given to the princes. They were paid in cash. Jacket was also given to them. The post of Mansabdari was not hereditary. Mansabdars have to maintain a stipulated horses, elephants, camels, mules, and carts. The horses were classified into 6 categories and the elephants into 5. A record of description called Huliya of each horseman under a Mansabdar and of branding, that is called dhag, horses to prevent branding the horses to prevent corruption was also kept. Here you have to note that each horse bore 2 marks. The government mark on the right thigh and the Mansabdar's mark on the left thigh. Every Mansabdar had to undergo periodical musters, which occurred sometimes once in a year, sometimes every 3 years, and troops had to be presented and inspected. A Mansabdar of 5,000 got 30,000 salary per month. A Mansabdar of 10,000 got 8,200 salary per month. A Mansabdar of 5,000 had to maintain 340 horses, 100 elephants, 400 camels, 100 mules, and 160 carts. After learning about Mansabdar system, let's assess its merits. As Mansabdars got their salaries from the emperor, they were loyal to him. It increased military efficiency also. Since the entire land became state land, it increased revenue of the state. Mansab was given to an official on merit. Their efficiency was more. Let us know about the demerits of Mansabdar system. Since soldiers were directly paid by the Mansabdar, they were more loyal to him than to the emperor. There was no opportunity or the unity in arms, training, discipline, etc. The emperor did not arrange for the training of soldiers. The Mughals didn't attempt much to increase the efficiency of their infantry. Mansabdar system was very expensive. Dishonest Mansabdars and officials used to ally during inspection. Caste system also prevailed in the Mansabdar system. Since the property of the Mansabdar was confiscated after his death, he used to spend it lavishly in his lifetime. We come to know about its few more demerits from the accounts of Badauni, in which he mentions that within Mansabdar system there was no classification of troops into regiments, and corruption in some form or the other was unavoidable in the system, which left the duties of recruitment and administration of the army to the Mansabdars. The practice of payment through the Mansabdars was pernicious and led to abuses. The system had no organic center and lacked the cohesive force which must always be essential in a national army. The standard of efficiency varied from unit to unit under various Mansabdars, and there was no uniformity of weapon, equipment, or discipline. The pomp and display, which had become natural with the Mansabdars, acted as an obstacle to military efficiency. Artillery was the weakest branch of the army, and in spite of much show of big cannon, the Raklas and Gajnals, it proved ineffective against a fort like Asirgarh. Akbar's army, consisting as it did of officers and troops of several nationalities, over two-thirds of whom were foreigners, was not a national army and was not bound by common interests and common sentiment of love of the country. On account of these inherent weakness, the Mughal army considerably deteriorated under Akbar's successors. As a conclusion, we can say that Mansabdar system was the pillar of Mughal administration. Mansabdars used to take their wives and concubines with them on the battlefield. Prostitutes, slaves also followed them. This adversely affected the mobility of the Mughal army. Mughal army, which was said to be efficient, became weak, which ultimately led to the downfall of Mughal empire. In spite of so many defects, the Mansabdar system was an improvement upon the military establishment of the medieval period. It was a sort of compromise between tribal chieftainship and the feudal system of living troops. It combined the advantages of both the systems. Moreover, it was designed to tap over every source of fighting strength in the country. The system assured steady loyalty of the Mansabdars of the emperor and offered an incentive for individual distinction. Every Mansabdar was aware that his promotion or degradation depended upon his loyalty and quality of his service. Through them was ensured the loyalty of the important military and political sections of the population of the country. So the system is really appreciable. Before the winding up the session, let us have a quick recapitulation of the main points what we have learned today. Military administration of Mughals, categories of Mansabs, designations of Mansabdars, Zaat and Sawar, features of Mansabdar system, merits and demerits of Mansabdari system. After this session, as a part of an assignment, define Mansabdar system and explain its merits and demerits. This assignment you can do at home. The books which I have referred to prepare my talk are Medieval History of India by J.C. Agarwal, History of Medieval India by L.P. Sharma, Advanced Study in the History of Medieval India by J.L. Mehta. Hope all of you have enjoyed my session. Thank you so much.